What's up, internet? We're gonna talk about watermelon salads today. The most important part of a watermelon salad is the watermelon. This should be, hopefully, a perfect, juicy, delicious watermelon with not too much of a rind on it, not too much white part. What you're looking for when you buy a watermelon is a few things. You wanna make sure that the root here is brown and not green. That means it was picked when it was fully ripened. You also wanna check for a big sort of yellow spot on it. This one's a little bit on the white side, but it was all I could find at the supermarket near me, but try and find one that's as yellow as possible. Also, it should feel like relatively heavy for what it looks like. This guy is more on the round side too, which means that it is a female watermelon, which means it's definitely gonna be a little bit more sweeter as opposed to sort of like an oblong, oval-shaped watermelon. It sounds nice and hollow, which means that it's got a pretty thin rind, and it should be delicious. So anyway, we got our watermelon, we got a little bit of lemon, some feta cheese, we got some fresh mint and basil sitting in a little water here. We got a little bit of red onion, some salt, pepper, olive oil. We're gonna make a little dressing for this guy. It's gonna come together in like 5 minutes. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. All right, the easiest way to cut a watermelon like this is to kind of hit the top and tail here. Now you can just sort of set it down like that, and we're just gonna go ahead and kind of cut it around the watermelon. It's okay if there's still some of the rind on there. You could always trim that up later. You could also slice this thing in half first. Might make it easier, but just wanted to get it done in one go here. I'm just making this for 2 people, so we really only need about half of this watermelon. Compost these scraps. Don't just toss them. Cut this guy in half. And it looks delicious. So I think we're good. So we've got our 2 halves. We're just gonna go ahead and dice this guy. If you wanna get fancy, you can use like one of those watermelon scoopers and get like a bunch of little round shapes out of it. But like, I live in New York, I don't have room for a watermelon scooper that I use 2 times a year. Just cut it in half once like this. Top it on its side. Just go like that. Perfect. Now we're good to go. All right, we got our half of a watermelon cut up. It looks absolutely delicious. It tastes absolutely delicious. And now, while we're preparing the rest of this stuff, which is only gonna take about 5 minutes, I'm gonna toss this in the freezer actually, to kind of just like get it real nice and cool before we plate everything up. Hello there. Sorry to interrupt this amazing video on watermelon salad, but we got a little bit of a pandemic happening, if you haven't noticed. I'm working with a group called the Better Internet Initiative to kind of use my platform to explain some basics on how you can prevent the coronavirus. So here we're gonna do a little quick tutorial on how to wash your hands. It takes 20 seconds to do it properly. So I've got a timer here ready to go. I'm just gonna hit start, and let's get going. You're gonna get a lot of soap. Get them wet and really scrub here. Make sure you get your thumbs. In between the nails. "20 seconds, and let's go a little longer, just to be safe. Now, washing your hands is extremely important. Be sure to do it. Now back to the video. All right, now we're gonna take some fresh mint and basil and wash it, rinse it, and throw it in this salad spinner. Basil, some mint. This is kind of up to you how much you want to use. If you like a lot of mint, use a lot of mint. If you don't even like mint or basil, you could use like arugula. This is a pretty forgiving salad, meaning you can't really mess it up. You can kind of put whatever you feel like in here. A lot of people put cucumbers, think cucumbers are fucking gross. That's cool. All right, if you don't have a salad spinner, you should probably get one. They're pretty cheap, but they'll come in handy a lot, and they're great for rinsing off lettuce and herbs, just like this. Come on, buddy. All right, here. Perfect. Drain that out. And one more quick spin. I'm surprised how much water comes off of these things. All right, we got our herbs here. Set these aside. We'll go ahead and grab a little bowl, a lemon, and some olive oil. This is gonna be the dressing. There we go. Get a little whisk. I'm just gonna drizzle in some olive oil here. A little pinch of salt. The feta is pretty salty, so you don't really need to go too crazy with the salt, but definitely needs some black pepper. This you can adjust. You can also use lime juice. You can use a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Kind of make it your own, you know? Delicious. Now we're pretty much ready to roll. I happen to have this red onion, so I'm gonna kind of cut it into like half ring slivers. This is kind of like whatever you want. I kind of just like the half rings when it comes to red onions. And the last thing I like to do is sort of roughly chop these herbs here, because if you chop basil too early, it can kind of bruise and turn brown. The best way to do it is just to kind of like get a stack here and just roll it on up. Fresh herbs smell so good. All right. Watermelon is nice and cool. Watermelon's fucking good, man. All right. Go ahead, toss in our onions. Throw in the herbs. I'm just gonna give this a mix with my hands. I'll just hit it with this. All right, I got a little pie dish to serve this up on. The very last thing you want to do is hit it with some feta cheese. You don't want to toss the feta in with the salad, because that can kind of make it get a little too mushy. Right on top at the end is perfect. A little bit of this nice flaky salt. And maybe another little drizzle of olive oil here. And there it is, watermelon salad. It's sweet, it's salty, it's herbaceous, it's juicy, perfect for barbecues, and that's it. Watermelon salad.